First of all, do you mind telling us how you felt when you saw that statement pop up this morning?
Well, it's funny to be fair because I've got David Ornstein on notifications on Twitter and I saw something pop up and I thought I'll give that a read in a second. And then just something in my subconscious made me think, no, I'll give this a read now. It could be, just on the very slim chance of something to do with Everton. And obviously it was jaw-dropping news, unfortunately, I think, in terms of something I did not expect to see happening today. I think of all the bizarre things you see happen with Everton, you probably can in some corner of the world predict it, but I just didn't see this coming at all, rightly or wrongly, whether that was me being naive or not, thinking we were kind of getting towards the finish line with this. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, there was pretty much no indication this was going to happen prior to what, maybe 11:15, 11:30 today. So yeah, shocked and obviously quite concerned.
Yeah, so were you confident before today that, you thought this was going to happen, you thought this would go through?
Yeah, and I think all the sounds where there was a period of 6, 8, 10 weeks maybe where this was going to kind of roll on for, and it's probably going to go to the start of the season. I would have guessed September, October time before everything was official, but obviously people are in the building already and things were moving forward. Obviously, come to see the new stadium. There was some stuff on the government website about purchase potentially being made, and everything just looked like it was going ahead as normal. Again, whether that's because I've perhaps not tuned into people who maybe doubted that or what, but I think a lot of Evertonians like me who follow it on social media and are on Twitter quite a lot and follow the groups. I've not seen anything since the very start of this process to suggest that this wasn't going to happen. Not saying there wasn't things out there, because I'm sure there probably was, and there are probably people who know more than I do, better than I do, that was suggesting that maybe this wasn't going to be plain sailing, but it looked like it was going to go ahead up until, as I say, only a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, and the group of obviously there's reasons for why this hasn't gone ahead, and obviously there was concerns there, which meant it hasn't. What have you made of the you know the reasons for why this hasn't progressed?
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems like such a mess because, obviously Everton were taking money off 777, who seemed very, very, very unlikely to ever really be able to purchase Everton. At first, it looked like a possibility, but I just think as things began to unravel for them, it looked very unlikely this was ever going to happen. And then obviously, when you're taking money off a company who, are obviously in a situation that they're in now, it's obviously going to be very difficult because obviously money goes and changes hands and people get involved and there are lenders and obviously there's huge debt within the club in terms of that money and obviously money that's gone out over the last few years. Obviously, Farmer Sherry's done that himself as well with the club, and obviously he wanted to get some money for his shares. So I can totally understand, why that's happened and why they're obviously not keen to get involved with something that could get very messy down the line. And obviously, it looks like a long timeline until that's going to get solved between 777 and the people they owe money to. So, yeah, I think obviously looking at it from that perspective, I can understand why they don't want to kind of get involved. And the hope is now that someone will be able to come out and try and save us in that respect.
Yeah, just on that last point you make there, that was going to be my next question. Uh, have you heard any names? I mean, we've heard before that there's been many names have been interested, of course, and obviously new names have come out. Are you hopeful that, as you say, one will come in, or do you think what you've heard today might make things more difficult? What do you think?
I mean, I think to be fair, we're probably in the situation we were, what, 8 weeks ago, maybe before these lot came in, where there are going to be names. Obviously, I think it's quite an open wound now, so I haven't seen any one name linked yet, but we're only obviously, an hour or so into the process. So I'm sure over the weekend we'll see names, whether it's Downing and Bell, whether they're linked again, whether there's these unnamed people, people from the Middle East or whoever it might be. But at this moment in time, I've not seen any name linked yet. Perhaps, not unusual, but I'm sure people will start to circle over the next few days. And you just hope it's someone who comes in now, they're going to understand that situation with the loans that are going to 777 and elsewhere. And just hope that they can get over that hump because obviously Everton is an attractive buy. They've got a new stadium coming. They're quite safe in the Premier League at this moment in time, certainly safer than they were a couple of years ago. Playing squad's not too bad. I've got a huge fan base. So I do think Everton are still quite an attractive buy, but obviously I think the curtain's kind of been pulled away to reveal things that is definitely going to put some people off who may be interested prior to obviously the Friedkin Group coming in. So no one name at the minute, but I'm sure they will come out over the next sort of 48, 72 hours.
Yeah, and even on social media, I mean, social media is very predictable at times, isn't it? I mean, under the post where Everton have put it, you got all the all the Manchester United fans saying, "We'll take Jared Branthwaite off your hands now," and all this sort of stuff. Do you worry about that? That if someone doesn't come forward, that prize assets like that, Everton might be more willing to move them on for maybe a lower price than if a deal had gone through.
Yeah, I mean, I think the deal with them kind of put us in a position of strength for the first time in a number of years. Obviously, we've not had many assets to lose, Richarlison, Anthony Gordon, but not it's not like we're sat on a gold mine of like a Lille or like a Monaco a few years ago where they had like 7, 8 players in one team who could go. Everton have got at this moment in time Jared Branthwaite and Jordan Pickford. They're the two ones who no fan wants to see go this summer, as far as I'm concerned. Players like Dominic Calvert-Lewin maybe in there as well, but certainly those two players. Does it worry me? Not massively, because I think where Everton are at this moment in time, this already looking like Amadou Onana is going to go, which is fine. I don't think anyone's bothered about that. The fee's not too bad. The structure of the deal looks okay for us. I think if Onana wasn't going, I would definitely be worried that Jared Branthwaite could be moved on for 50, 60 million pound, maybe even John Pickford go for 30, 40, 50 million pounds. I'm not too sure, but I think given the fact that Onana's going, I think that should hopefully see us okay for now. But obviously, things could obviously change as the window rolls on because we do need 3 or 4 more players, and if we can't afford to do that without selling someone, then that might be when that question gets asked again.
Yeah, because I've just been reading some quotes actually just before I've been jumped on the call with you from Kieran Maguire's obviously an expert in the world of football finance, and he's been saying he suspects there'll probably be some frantic calls taking place right now, which is probably what we expect when we hear this news. And he goes on about maybe some calls for additional commitment from some of the lenders because of the fear that of the possible alternative of administration in the future. Obviously, that's the worst case scenario, and possible future points deductions, that sort of thing. Is that the ultimate fear? If that lingers a little bit. If given the uncertainty now, hopefully another name just come into the line soon, as you say. We don't know that yet, but obviously that I suppose that fear lingers, and it's been there for a little while with all this uncertainty and the fact that we still haven't got any deal sorted at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think to be fair, administration, it's not a word I've heard for a number of weeks, so it kind of been off my radar really. But I think if you go back to sort of late May, early June, that was 100% a worry, although I think a lot of people have suggested that that isn't on the club's radar, but obviously that position could well have changed now because of, obviously what's gone on. That is the ultimate worry, 'cause obviously if we do go into administration and players' contracts are obviously in a very different position. The worry isn't whether we get due value for someone like Jared Branford, whether he'd obviously be able to go and kind of go for nothing or for a nominal fee anyway. Yeah, I think that is a worry, and that's obviously something that you say talking about lenders who are going to have to kind of bring more commitment to the club and hope that they kind of steer Everton away from that. I've always said since the minute Carlo Ancelotti left the club and Rafa Benitez came in, it became very obvious that Everton were in a new market of coach and of player. We paid I think 2, 3 million pound that summer on players, and we somehow stayed up. Somehow managed the season after, obviously much more comfortable last season, but still rocky for 80, 85% of the season. I've always said it's all about getting to this new stadium, and that looked like it was going to be plain sailing this year because of the money coming in from Friedkin, the new signs we've made, the links to players, the fact that players look like they're going to stay. It now goes back to kind of fight to survive and just hope that by the time we can get to that new stadium, we're a Premier League teams again. I think that makes you even more a viable purchase if we still need one by that point.
Yeah, very well said. I think that's everything I wanted to ask. James, is there anything else you wanted to mention? I'm happy if you are.
No, I don't think so. To be fair, so obviously just hoping that it all gets sorted, and obviously it's not going to be a quick process, but you just hope over the next sort of 7 days or so, one name can stand out, and you hope it's no one's thinking that we're going to get some multi-billionaire who's going to come and change into a super team. Just want someone who can steady the ship and keep things ticking over for us.